and happy Wednesday, April 19th, 2023, and welcome to a brand new edition of what we like to call the Clash of Le Champions. I am your host, the vegan you believe in, Kirk Cadet, in the flesh as always, and this man needs no introduction.
What's up, everybody? This is tag team partner Jonathan Randall, the adventurer, the life of the party himself. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Kurt, how you been?
Been pretty good, man. Having a pretty good day. It's the eve of one of my favorite holidays of the year. I'm sure you probably already know what I'm talking about. And I almost forgot today is a special anniversary. Actually, it's multiple special anniversaries today.
Oh yeah.
In a sad anniversary, today is the 34-year anniversary of when the Central Park 5 incident happened, where like the actual rape happened and they got accused of it and all that shit when it all started. Today is the anniversary of that.
Oh no.
And crazy, 2.5 weeks after WrestleMania 5, when you see Trump in the front row, he's getting on the news, pushing for these kids to get the death penalty. And he brought out like a page ad in like the New York Post, like demanding these kids get the harshest punishment ever. Crazy times, man. Crazy how in just 2.5 weeks all that shit would go down and
Damn, man.
fucking shit would never be the same. Yeah, sad situation. These kids who had nothing to do with this crime get interrogated by the cops and forced into making these false confessions. And this piece of shit lady Linda Fairstein went out of her way to get these kids found guilty and get the harshest punishment. And one of the kids who was fucking 16 years old got sent to Rikers Island. Bro, imagine being in Rikers Island or any fucking hardcore prison as a freaking 16-year-old.
Damn.
Bro.
You heard about that story recently about the 16-year-old who got shot because he accidentally rung the doorbell at the wrong house?
I might have
He
heard
went to
something
pick
about
up.
that. Yeah, I think I might have heard something.
Yeah, man. It was a pretty messed up story.
Yeah, bro. And honestly, just learning about that story, there's very few things in my life that genuinely get me that upset and that heated and fill my heart with rage. But that story is one of them. Like straight up, what happened to those 5 kids who are now adults is unforgivable.
Damn.
That's why I always dislike Trump is because of that case and for the stance he still took on it even after they were found not guilty years later. DNA
Mm.
evidence found them not guilty. And that's why, in a way, I told the lady Linda Fairstein, I mentioned the district attorney who went out of her way to get them convicted. That's who Kamala Harris kind of reminds me of, the black version of that lady.
I see. I feel you.
Which is why I'm not much of a fan.
Hmm.
But yes, the 5 of them were eventually released from prison after DNA evidence found them to not be guilty of what they were accused of. And they all received $1 million settlements apiece, which is nice, although it doesn't make up for what they went through. It is a nice start to an apology. And now they're living fruitfulest, peaceful lives and as happy lives as they can live, considering what they went through.
That's good.
Yeah, one of my homegirls who went to actually UNLV, who was also in the journalism department, she actually interviewed one of them for an article she wrote, and she said she was very surprised at how positive the dude's attitude was, considering what he went through.
Hmm.
Yeah, those guys went through hell, but they came out of it on the better side and better people for it. And I salute to all 5 of them.
I had to look up more into that story.
And also, today is a 29-year anniversary of the release of one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time.
Nas's Illmatic album.
Yes, Nas's Illmatic album.
I figured. I don't know if you noticed. I got that on vinyl now.
Oh shit! I think I saw you post a picture of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the greatest to ever do it. He's my personal goat. Some people's opinions may differ. That's fine, but he is my personal goat, and that album is a masterpiece.
Nice. Yeah, that album just it hits different, man. I think that's one of the hip hop albums, top 5 for me that I could listen from beginning to end.
Yeah, only 10 songs, but holy shit, what a 10 songs!
Yeah.
It's mine, it's mine, it's mine. Whose world is this?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's a good song. I love that
And
song.
bro, One Love is one of the best storytelling you'll ever hear.
Yeah, it's the one thing I really love, but is the beats. they,
Ooh,
the
ooh.
message, but those beats really hit hard on like each song. Um,
Especially
Halftime. Um,
represent.
yeah, it ain't hard to tell using a beat
Ooh,
from
ooh,
Michael Jackson.
ooh.
That was yeah.
Oh my God, I have dreams about that beat.
Crazy man.
Yeah, just a great body of work from a great artist who came out in a year that featured a lot of great artists and a lot of other great bodies of work. Some of those
Mm.
examples being Outcast, the Southern Playlistic, which I believe the anniversary is for next week.
Oh, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Man, there was a lot of good albums that came out in '94.
Yeah, I was gonna run down that. Yeah, like Southern Playlistic from Outcast, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number from Aaliyah,
Mm-hmm.
Die Ready to Die from Biggie, Two from Boys to Men with I'll Make Love to You and Bended Knee and Water Runs Dry. That album came out in '94. Crazy Sexy
Mm.
Cool from TLC and the My Life album from Mary J. Blige.
Wow.
Fucking crazy. And the Above the Rim soundtrack too. Above the Rim soundtrack.
Oh, okay, okay. I think that movie's on Netflix still, if I believe.
The movie's just okay in my opinion, but the soundtrack is dope.
Hmm.
It's crazy. That's the award Suge Knight was accepting at the Source Awards. That one year when he supposedly called out Diddy, he was accepting the award for best soundtrack for Above the Rim.
I feel you. Got you.
I supposedly heard he wasn't talking about Diddy that night. He was talking about Jermaine Dupri, who I actually saw in concert a few weeks ago.
Well, for real.
Yeah, I saw Jermaine Dupri in Currency a couple weeks ago. Pretty dope show. It was only about
Hmm.
an hour, but dope show.
Oh,
None.
Currency is so underrated.
Good performer too. Just too bad his Pelicans missed the playoffs because he was talking about them during his show.
He's from New Orleans.
Yeah, he's from New Orleans.
Didn't know that. Yeah, he's a very underrated rapper. Like he does a lot of work with Larry June, who I really admire. Who I'm actually going to see perform in July, actually. So,
I was thinking of going to the Janet concert next week,
oh yeah,
and nothing's official, but it's looking like I'll be there Memorial Day weekend. It's really 90% chance I'll be there Memorial Day weekend.
okay. Are you going to try to go to a Hawks game?
I'm trying to go to Double or Nothing.
Oh, I know, but I'm not talking. I'm just like in general though, like anytime
Oh,
soon.
because of the playoffs, right? I was thinking about it. I actually
Yeah.
brought it up to my brother, but he was like, but considering how that series is going so far, it would kind of be a waste of time.
I know. I figured.
Yo, that game
Oh
one
man,
was
I'm sorry,
that
man.
game one was an embarrassment. That shit was over like in the second quarter.
Oh,
Yo, but that Knicks and Cavaliers game, I freaking dozed off during. I was pissed because it ended up being a good game, and I dozed off during it.
wow,
But I did wake up in time for that good ass game between the Kings and the Warriors. That shit was freaking crazy.
dude. Okay, it's been 50-50 about that stomp that Draymond Green
Oh,
did.
in game two,
I mean,
right?
because yeah, because people are saying like, I mean, Nate was saying like, dude, the grab, he grabbed his leg and he's trying to break free though. But at the same time, I don't know, man. The reason why they suspended him it was the fact that look, I'm not surprised by the suspension if I'm being honest with you, but at the same time, they were saying they were looking at the recent stuff that he did in the past. That is why he got suspended for one game. But at the same time, Kurt, I'm kind of like, it's the playoffs. And it's like, one of my favorite journalists, Colin Cowherd, said this: like people like to romanticize about the NBA during the '80s and the '90s, how physical it was, but it's like when we see stuff like this, you want to complain about it. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know what's your take on this.
I mean, basically, it was a bad look, granted, but it wouldn't have happened if Homeboy didn't grab his ankle in the first place.
That's what I'm saying because that's what started it.
Was it the right response? No. I mean, for that he deserved to be ejected. That's fine, but I don't think it was enough to suspend him for a whole game. I think that was too far.
And you know what? And it's the playoffs too, man. You know what this reminds me of? Remember when Draymond got suspended for one game in the 2016 finals against Cleveland?
Yeah, the only difference is in this series they're already down by 2 games, but that series they had the advantage and That was a
I know,
turnaround.
but that was the turning point. That's what I'm saying. And for this one, they're already down 2 games
If
already,
they
and
if
I'm oof,
if they lose game three, it's a wrap. I'm sorry, but if they lose game three, it's over.
yeah, I know. It's just, oh man.
The first two games, the games were still good
Oof.
though. Regardless of that, the games were still good. But I have to give Sacramento credit. They are a lot better than I thought they would be.
I know.
Yeah, they came to play. They came to fucking play.
I
Oh
don't get me wrong. I'm happy for them. Like, it's about damn time they've been this good. They haven't been this good since like 2002, dude.
no, they have not. That
Like,
was the year
relevant.
that was the year arguably they should have won the title, but that's another story. Yeah, bro, it's crazy to see how far they've come in the last few years. This was the first time they've made the playoffs since the season when the Heat won with Dwayne Wade and Shaq. The year of WrestleMania 22. That's the last time the Kings went to the playoffs. That was the year.
2006.
Yeah, crazy,
Wow.
bro. Crazy, bro. T.I.'s
Oof.
What You Know About That was the hottest song in the world. Damn,
Man,
son.
I was in middle school in 2006. Damn.
I'd already been out of high school for a year, but anyway, yeah, that series is freaking crazy so far. And yo, your Lakers aren't looking bad.
No, um I love Austin Reeves. Rob Palinka, Genie Bus, if you hear me right now, extend him when the season is over. Please keep him at all costs. Please.
I feel bad for John Morant for getting hurt the way he did, but yo, the Lakers definitely are not to be fucked with right now.
No, they're not. I don't know. The Suns and the Clippers. That I don't know. I feel like we'll go 7 games, but the Suns. I heard like most of their starters were pretty much carrying the game. That's not good.
You know what's funny? I didn't even realize until the series started on Sunday that in that series it's Durant versus Westbrook, and they've never played against each other in the playoffs before.
No, nobody really even talking about that.
Yeah, it's so crazy that I guess in a sense old news because Durant was kind of hurt for a while and didn't play for a while, and Westbrook isn't like really like the superstar that he was 5 years ago. So yeah, I guess it's kind of a dead rivalry in that sense.
Mm,
And I guess it was only really a big deal the first time they played each other, like after Durant left.
yeah,
Yeah, but that game on Sunday was good. Last night's game was kind of whatever, but that looks like it will be a
yeah,
series for damn sure.
for sure.
And freaking Miami beat Milwaukee. That shit was a huge upset.
Yeah, Giannis got hurt,
And he's
sadly.
not playing tonight either.
Oh man,
That's not
a lot
good.
of
If they lose.
injuries. A lot of injuries going on, man.
Yeah, and the other homeboy broke his hand in that game too.
Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero, man.
Yeah, I was watching that game on Sunday. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Everybody's getting hurt. It's like WrestleMania 19.
Oh, with Brock, Kurt, and Austin. Oh,
Austin.
yeah,
Yeah.
boy.
Shit.
But
All right, but in any event,
speaking of WrestleMania, we got wrestling news to get down to, and as always.
yes, wrestling news to get down to. And on our last episode, we were talking about the Raw after WrestleMania, how it left a bad taste in people's mouths because Vince was apparently like rewriting the show as it went on, and it was like a huge mess, and the show didn't really come off well at all. But we were treated with a much improved episode of SmackDown the following Friday, which had triple the amount of wrestling time that the show on Monday did. Thank God.
and the fact that they're able to do everything and fit everything within 2 hours compared to Raw 3 hours.
Yes, and on that episode of SmackDown, Vince McMahon was not there, but Triple H was there, and he came out to make an announcement, and that announcement was the return of the WWE Draft.
Mm,
And that draft will be taking place next Friday, April 28th on SmackDown, and the following Monday, May 1st on Raw.
wow.
So the draft is returned. This is going to be the first draft under Triple H, and from what I'm hearing, this is like really going to be like the real start of the Triple H era because like now he's like really going to put the rosters together a certain way and position things a certain way. And I'm hearing that a new championship belt is going to be debuted during this draft also.
Really? Wait, a new
Yes,
championship or like just like a different?
a different belt.
Wonder what it will be.
Yeah, and also in addition to that, there's going to be the splitting up of many tag teams, and I think I have a feeling of one of those tag teams for
Oh,
damn
Street
sure. I think it's
Profits.
happening.
Street Profits, right?
Yeah, I think it's. I heard a rumor that they were supposedly told it's going to happen, although it won't be official until we see it. But the way it's looking, that's more than likely going to happen.
I feel it. And I think it's time. I really see so much potential in Montez Ford. I'm sorry, so much. I think it's time for him. So I can see it.
I mean, Angelo Dawkins is no slouch either, but yes, if I had to pick one who I see being the bigger star, it would be Montez Ford.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's about to be in a reality show with Bianca that's dropping this year.
I heard Bianca was in the what was it the that interview with Kevin Hart when they do the whole little tub bath interview.
Oh yeah, I saw pictures of that. Yeah, I saw the
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah. Same here.
Damn, she's beautiful, bro. Holy shit, she's beautiful. But anyway, yes, so I see them splitting up, and bro, they have to do something with Bianca soon. Yo, this is not popping for her right now. This whole time frame, ever since the start of the year, something has just not been right with
She
Bianca.
doesn't have any bright. I mean, I don't know. Other than Oscar, I don't. She's not really in any good potential storylines right now.
Yeah, and from what is coming out like now, her next challenger is going to be Io Sky because Bailey was supposed to be like in a triple threat number one contenders match, and then Io Sky and Dakota Kai were like arguing with her about it, about how they should get a title shot instead. So she went to go talk to Adam Pearce, and Io Sky ended up getting her spot and ended up winning the match. So it's looking like now it's going to be Io and Bianca. And also from the
Mm,
draft, they're definitely splitting up Damage Control. That shit is not going to be going on past this. No way.
damn. It feels like you like because like Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are getting more of like the attention now. I mean, I'm happy for them winning the women's tag team titles though, but it's like they're getting more of like a storyline and more of a like a push attention more than Bianca Belair right now.
Yeah, it feels like that. We'll get into that in a minute. But that's one thing I was thinking about the other day is that the women's division is kind of not in a good place right now on either brand.
I know it looked like so I noticed that when Rhea Ripley was on SmackDown recently, she had like a little bit of like a stare down with Raquel Rodriguez, and I was like, "Oh, that's perfect." But I don't think they're gonna do that.
At least not now.
Yeah, or anytime soon. So it's kind of like I don't know, like what they're doing. Who are you trying to feud it with regarding the when it comes to the women's champions? But it's weird.
The way it's looking now, it's more than likely at Backlash going to be Rhea Ripley against Zelina Vega because
Yeah, that's
Legado del Fantasma is feuding with Judgment Day and all that.
I know, but it's like it's not any like I don't see anything like anything proper. Like I don't know. It's like not done properly. I guess.
I think a part of it may be because they're possibly waiting for the draft, and then after they do the draft, then they'll like really start to spice things up and make it
Probably.
interesting again.
Probably.
We'll
Yeah.
see how it goes. So, but I definitely see the Street Profits splitting up for sure, and also Damage Control splitting up for sure,
Yeah.
and maybe even Judgment Day.
Maybe because what we saw this past Monday, how it looks like the Bloodline and the Judgment Day are somewhat making like an alliance with each other to solve each other's problems.
Yes, but we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, it's a bit off or weird or whatever though. But I mean, yeah, I don't see it lasting long though. But it's like a like a temporary thing, I guess. But yeah,
Yes, but in addition to the WWE draft, we also have Backlash coming up in 2.5 weeks, which I heard
yes.
as of today is sold out in Puerto
Wow.
Rico.
Ooh, I'm not surprised. Your first pay per view since 2005. That's a good thing.
And some of the matches that have been made official are the six-man tag, which will feature the new undisputed tag team champions Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn teaming up with a returning Matt Riddle. The three of them will be teaming up against the Usos and Solo Sikoa.
As I predicted, perfect 6-man tag match.
Yeah, perfect for the pay-per-view. I'm definitely down for it. And in another match made official as of Monday on Raw by Adam Pearce, during a segment in which Cody was trying to get at Brock Lesnar, but a whole bunch of security guards held him back. And he even like beat them all up. And as he was like about to get to Brock in the aisleway, right when he was about to get to them, a whole bunch of them come out and just freaking tackle him.
Protecting Walker, Texas Ranger.
Shit. How good a security is that? Is he if he could lay all their asses out with only one punch? Fucking losers. Worse than J&J security.
Oh yeah, J Security would do a better job. But I tell you what, though, Brock Lesnar's really taking this whole little Texas little cowboy thing is way over the top. I know he was originally born in North. Was it South Dakota or North Dakota? But still, watch him come out with a horse next time.
I can't stop thinking of Brock Lesnar in that movie Unforgiven or some shit like that.
Oh my god, you still haven't even seen Tombstone yet, have you?
Now that was the other movie I was thinking of. My bad, Tombstone. I was thinking of that
Yeah,
movie.
Tombstone. Yeah. Oh man, I can't get over it. But yeah,
Yeah, but Adam Pearce officially made the match for
yeah.
Backlash during that segment between Cody and Brock, and it's official. And I like that line that Cody said at the end, like saying, "Brock, you think you're a cowboy? I grew up around cowboys, and you're not a cowboy, bro. You're a coward." I feel like this storyline with Cody is like mirroring like the Cena storyline after WrestleMania 28.
True, because the night after WrestleMania, Brock returns F5 Xena, and they have their match at Extreme Rules, similar to what's going on right now. Surprisingly, Brock wanted to be Cody Rhodes' tag team partner, then turns on him at the end of the night, and now they're having a match at the next pay per view. So it's funny because somebody a while ago made that reference about kind of like getting reminiscent storylines of Xena from 2012. He has that loss at WrestleMania, and now he's kind of like, you know, fighting his way back up in a way. So for Cody Rhodes, I don't know if it ends at SummerSlam or they're gonna wait for the whole entire year. I honestly cannot do a whole entire year. If the payoff is gonna be at SummerSlam, fine. But if I'm gonna have to wait a whole nother year, then I'm sheesh.
Well, I'll say this: if you think Cody's being buried or something, that's definitely not the case because I know he didn't win at WrestleMania, but he's still in a main event match at the next pay per view, and it looks more than likely that they're gonna do Roman against Cody again at SummerSlam. And whether or not Cody wins remains to be seen. Even if he does win that night, I don't know if it'll feel exactly the same, but
Right.
I'm willing to give it a chance. That's all we can do. What happened at WrestleMania happened. It sucked. It put a bad taste in all of our mouths, but whatever. There's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is move forward and see what happens now. And then if it turns out well, we give them praise. If it doesn't turn out well, then we can criticize them for it.
You know what? Do you think that after this, let's say after Backlash, do you think that they're gonna have Cody win Money in the Bank?
I think him and Brock will probably be like a multiple match series if I had to take a guess. And then I think before he gets to Roman again, he's gonna have to go through Solo because he beat Solo for the first time a couple weeks ago before Mania, and then Solo was the one who cost him the title. So I feel like he's gonna have to go through Brock and also Solo one more time before he gets to Roman again.
Hmm.
So I think that's gonna be occupying Cody's time between now and SummerSlam.
Okay.
But just watching that Dusty Rhodes documentary on A&E and like watching what they were talking about, concerning the feud with him and Flair, how he chased Flair for the title for like 2 years. When I saw that, I'm like, fuck. Please don't tell me they're gonna do a storyline like that with Cody and Roman. That's too long, bro.
Oh no no no! What for that long? No, bro, they can't do. No, you got to remember, wrestling was different back then, man. They didn't have multiple pay per views how how we do now. No, there's a reason. I look. Let's just say that let's put Flair and Dusty Rhodes in this generation, right? Probably would have did it for about several months or a few months compared to doing it for 2 years. You didn't have that many pay per views back then. That was a different time. So the chasing part, yes, for like a periods of time, like for 2 years, no. Mm-mm. And this time, no, they wouldn't do that. That's too long.
And you know what? And you know what's funny about that whole feud?
Mm.
You could have maybe made the argument Dusty should have beat him at the second Starrcade match in '85, like, after the hard time speech and all that,
Yeah.
and then they did like some weird finish, and then Dusty chased him for like another 8 months, and then Dusty beat him like on a random date of the Great American Bash Tour, which is a great moment. Don't get me wrong, it was a great moment when it happened. But you know how long Dusty kept the belt for after that?
How long?
2 weeks,
2 weeks.
and then he dropped it back to Flair.
Aye.
Yeah, I was so surprised by that. Like, as hot as Dusty was back then, and for how long that chase went, you only let him keep it for that long. That's it.
Wow.
And honestly, looking back at that payoff in a way might have been better if they did it at Starcade that year.
True, because that is a big event. Yeah.
But yeah, Kurt Angle even mentioned that a few weeks ago after Mania, that it was a different time, like back in that era, like with San Martino and Hogan and Flair and everyone else. You didn't see them on TV every week. You only saw them on TV like once in a blue moon. But like now, in the era you live in today, you see Roman every week. You see Cody every week. You see all the other top guys every week. So it's not like a
Right.
situation where like you wouldn't see him that often like back then. Because like back then you can
Right.
justify them being the champion for years at a time and all that. But in the times we live in
Right.
now, it's just a different vibe.
Right. That's perfectly well said.
But I just sincerely hope that whenever it does happen, that it still does have that impact. That and that we
Yeah.
can
I
and that
mean,
and that we can say at the end of it that it was worth it. That like what they did at WrestleMania was worth it.
I hope so, man. I said this before, man, because like you have your opportunity to do at your biggest event and you blow it. That's like that's like Rey Mysterio, right? Not winning the world title at WrestleMania 22, but he wins at a SummerSlam. Like, okay, it's good that he won it, but it doesn't like it just doesn't hit the same if he does it at WrestleMania. You know what I mean?
Or Chris Benoit WrestleMania 20, Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30, etc. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But only time will tell. They said they still have a story to tell, so hopefully they tell it in a way that pays off well, and not to a point where it's 2057 and we're doing WrestleMania Goes to Mars, and they're still trying to tell the same story.
Oh my god.
So that was being funny. Oh
Oh
shit.
yeah, I saw that meme.
But what else happened in the last few weeks since we talked to you was the changing hands of the women's tag team titles, as Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan defeated Becky Lynch, and subbing for Lita, who was attacked right before the match, Trish Stratus, who took the pin by the hands of Liv Morgan. And then after the match, as Becky Lynch is trying to help her up and Becky Lynch has her back turned, Trish Stratus turns on her.
Mm,
She knocks her down from behind and then hits her with a Trish kick and turns heel for the first time since 2004.
yeah. And you know what? I loved her promo the following week. Loved it.
When she brought back the cowboy hat and shit, yeah, it was dope.
It wasn't that. It was the fact what she said. It's just like, look, I'm not a nostalgia act.
Yeah, yeah, it was dope. She was saying, I'm not a nostalgia act. I'm not your childhood fantasy.
Right.
I'm the greatest of all time.
Oh my god. That's what I'm saying. Like, dude, like, look. I'm gonna be keep it real with you. I hated Trish Stratus in 2004 when she was a heel, but I was part of the work though. You know what I mean? She did her job, like to make you hate her. You know what I mean? Because like you go from man, I love Trish and all that stuff, and now after WrestleMania 20, like, damn you, like, I hate you now, you know what I mean? And then you're making fun of Lita's baby and all that stuff. And like, she had a lot of heat on her during that
I
time.
remember. I remember.
Yeah. And just what she said in that promo is just like, wow, you're doing it again. But I love it. She's letting everybody know that I'm not forgotten. And I truly believe, and she said what she meant. She is the greatest of all time because let's be real. I'm not going to say just her, but you had Trish, Lita, mainly. Those were the two. Mainly, Trish were the ones that started the women's division. When you think about
Or
it,
the women's evolution or whatever, but not the division was always around.
I mean, you get what I mean.
And she also admitted to the fact that she did attack Lita before the match because that was the big mystery. And even Raquel and Liv Morgan were like getting accused of it.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you when all that shit went down, you kind of saw where like it was all going, and I did like the things she said, and that she actually had an explanation for what she did, and about how, like, she's the reason why Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte main evented WrestleMania. And like whenever these girls, like, see her in the locker room, they should be telling her thank you and bowing down to her, and worshiping her and all this jazz. Yeah, so it's gonna be nice to see heel Trish again, but from what I understand,
Yeah.
they're not doing the Trish and Becky match until SummerSlam.
Yeah, that it's a long wait, man, because I said the same thing to myself the other day, like, okay, that's cool that they're doing this, but when? And it's like, it's most likely will be at SummerSlam, to wait at your second biggest event of the year. But man, that's such like a long time to wait, man, because it's like somewhat like a little of a bad timing thing, because you had Becky and Lita as the tag team champions pretty much around WrestleMania time,
Which I have
right?
to admit was very random.
That was very, yeah. That's what I'm saying. If they weren't tag team champions, they probably wouldn't let Trish turn heel not until, I say, maybe like a month or so prior to SummerSlam. Now, because they're doing this, now you got to wait literally like a whole 3 months up until that's a big gap, man.
Yeah, it's kind of a minute. I don't know if they can make it that interesting for that long, but it's looking
That's what I'm
it's more
saying.
than likely looking like they're gonna do probably Trish and Lita first, maybe like in a at the Saudi show or something, or maybe Money in the Bank, and then do Trish and Becky at SummerSlam.
That's a long wait, man. I would have not have put the tag belts on Lita and Becky. Yeah, I mean, they found the reason to take it off of them. I get that, but I don't think they should have put the belts on them to begin with, knowing what they're gonna do now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird, but honestly, those tag belts, I've kind of given up on them. And speaking of which, Corey Graves in the bump was talking about actually the women's tag team titles and the women's tag team division in general, and he just basically like admitted that that division just like never really caught on, and that division's like always been filled with like just random tag teams. They like swap together, and like they don't win the titles during one attempt, so they just break up and find a new tag team partner. And how basically like the closest to like a real tag team they had in that whole division was the Iconics.
Yeah. There's really no genuine like tag teams in that division.
Yeah, like there's not like real teams like the Hart Foundation or the Rockers, the Road Warriors, the New Age Outlaws. Majority of the teams in the women's tag division are just like two random girls they just threw together because they weren't doing anything, and they just threw them together just so they could have a tag team match. The last two tag matches at WrestleMania with the women were exactly that, just random teams they threw together.
Mm.
Freaking Raquel Rodriguez is Liv Morgan's third tag team partner like in the last 2 years.
Oh, are you serious?
Ruby Soho before Ruby Soho got fired. Then freaking Rhea Ripley, and now Raquel.
Wow.
Holy shit, man. No wonder why Sasha and Naomi got frustrated and wanted to walk out.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, Corey Graves is not wrong. That's exactly what that division has been ever since. It had potential in the beginning, like when Sasha and Bailey won that Elimination Chamber match, and it seemed like they were gonna like be the champions for a while. But then they had them lose them at WrestleMania, and then like just from that point on with the Iconics, like how they treated them from that point on, they just never really felt as good, as consistent or relevant. I hate to say it, but it's true.
I mean, I get the idea of having those belts. I mean, I thought it was a good idea, but at the same time, I think the it's how the way you use it and do it hits different.
And speaking of different, the name of the King of the Ring pay per view coming up in Saudi Arabia has now changed, and it will now be called Night of Champions. So
What?
I guess the King and Queen's Crown tournament, I thought they were doing for that show, will not be happening anymore, and now it's being replaced with this show.
Hmm. You know what? I was against the fact they were having the King of the Ring event in Saudi Arabia, because I felt like, okay, that event needs to be in the States. But okay. I mean, wait, first of all, I don't even like, when are they gonna have another pay per view in the States? Because look, Backlash is gonna be in Puerto Rico, right? That's in May, right? Night of Champions is when? Later that month,
May 27th is the same weekend as Double or Nothing.
right? So literally just within the same month. And then June,
I'm not sure if they have a pay per view in June. I'm not sure if they have one in June.
yeah, or July.
July's Money in the
Nothing.
Bank. July's Money in the Bank.
But that's gonna be in England.
I know, but it's still a pay per view.
Yeah, I know though, but I'm saying like there's no I haven't heard any in the States though.
There's no pay per views in the States until probably SummerSlam.
So my curious guess is like what they're gonna do for June.
I guess since they're having two pay per views in May, that's gonna make up for it.
Right.
But anyway, yeah. So I guess they're changing this the name of it to Night of Champions because that night is gonna be the night that Roman surpasses the 1,000 day record.
Well, yeah. I wonder against who though. You think they should have him feud with Shinsuke Nakamura?
That's what I heard they're probably gonna do. It looks like they're probably gonna do that because realistically, Roman's not losing that title to the earliest until he feuds with Cody again.
Right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a throwaway thing anyway, so it's fine. I'm sure it'll be a good match regardless, but realistically, we all know how that's ending.
Yeah. But I'm glad that Shinsuke's back though.
It's nice to have Shinsuke back, but too bad we're not getting the King and Queen's Crown tournaments. Damn shame.
I know. Maybe later this year, maybe they'll, you know what I mean?
It's possible.
Maybe, hopefully.
And speaking of later this year, it's come to find out that Drew McIntyre's contract expires later this year.
I heard about that prior to WrestleMania, and yeah, the rumor was negotiations. What I heard about his contract extensions, I didn't hear anything about it. So I don't know. Maybe they'll change later during the weeks, maybe. But yeah, I haven't heard anything.
He has missed the last 2 weeks for SmackDown. Apparently, it was because of an injury. I was even hearing before
Yeah,
WrestleMania he was dealing with like a stomach flu or something along those lines. So,
yeah, yeah.
not denying the injury reports, but it has come out that his contract is expiring soon, and that apparently like he's not happy about his position.
Mm,
I don't know how much truth there is to that, but I guess we'll see whether or not he if he resigns in a few months how true that is.
yeah. When does it expire again?
I believe either the summer or sometime like later in the year.
Okay. Hopefully something will get done though. But
And Becky and a whole bunch of contracts expire next year also, including Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch even like I think changed like her Twitter name to like her actual name and like removed like all WWE references from like I guess her Twitter. And everybody was like trying to make it into like a big story, thinking like, she's leaving or that she's like walking out in protest with Seth because like Seth was upset about, how his segment getting cut a few weeks ago. But apparently, like I think it's probably just for storyline purposes.
oh, okay, okay.
Her
Hmm.
contract isn't up until next June of 2024.
Right.
But I was hearing she kind of wants to wind down her career because of the whole family thing, or possibly even retire.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes when that time comes. Yes, but let's get into the AEW and CM Punk news.
Oh boy.
So it's come out over the last week that it's pretty much a done deal that CM Punk is going to be coming back very soon.
Oh.
And the possible date of his return will be the June 21st episode of Dynamite, which will be in Chicago.
Oh, Kurt? How do you feel about this? What are they doing? Is this a desperate attempt, Kurt, or just do they believe in second chances, or like paint the picture, make it make sense for me, Kurt?
It's all about the money. It's all about the money. But in all seriousness, it's been coming out that they've been trying to like get meetings together between CM Punk and the Elite to like squash everything and and like start a clean slate. But the Elite dudes don't want to work with him. The Elite dudes are like not trying to work with him at all after what happened, which is understandable because he publicly trashed them in
Yeah.
that press conference, and then the whole confrontation happened afterwards. So that is understandable, but there is a chance that him and Chris Jericho could end up making amends and being able to work together.
I heard about that. I heard about that, and I was just about to mention that. Like him and Jericho are trying to talk with each other and make amends with each other, and may work things out. I heard about that. So Oh boy, let's just. I'm look. I'm just gonna like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, but I'm not gonna, be hopeful or something like that. You know what I mean? If something else happens, Kurt, something else happens, I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably not a good idea to bring him back considering all the people he has issues with. But at the end of the day, I do understand
Right.
that the dude does move numbers and is a draw. And him coming back, considering the way everything went down last year, it would generate a lot of interest and a lot of ratings. Admittedly, it would.
It would.
It also, considering that he booked Wembley Stadium for August, it's kind of a clear sign that maybe Punk is coming back, and that he's one of those dudes who could help fill that place.
Yeah. But like I said, man, something else happens. I'm not gonna say nothing, man. I'm just gonna sit there and just like,
Yeah, he definitely needs to get all those dudes to sit down, or at least some of them to sit down with Punk and talk this shit out and work past it. Because if he comes back with like all that shit still lingering and all that shit still going on, then it's not gonna make for a pretty working environment.
mm,
But also
it's
I
not.
found out that they're actually debuting another show for AEW called Collision that's going to come on Saturday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. And apparently what they might want to do with that is do like maybe like a mini brand split and have like CM Punk mainly be on that show, and then like all the elite dudes and the people he has issues with on Dynamite.
Okay.
I don't know how well that will work. And Saturday night at 8 o'clock is not a good time slot, bro. Holy shit.
Uh, yeah. If it was earlier, if it was like, oh man,
Maybe Saturday
Heh,
afternoon, like late Saturday
yeah,
afternoon, like 5 or 6 o'clock, maybe. But bro,
yeah,
Saturday night at eight
yeah,
o'clock, what the
yeah, yeah.
fuck? Rampage doesn't even do that well. On Friday nights at 10, that shit's not a good time slot either. And they're gonna do Saturday nights at 8, man.
Ooh,
But
pushing it.
money talks, bro. Money talks.
Mm-hmm.
But damn, Punk is actually gonna be coming back. I seriously thought he was done after that whole press conference and everything that happened. I'm like, yo, there's no way this dude could ever go back to that locker room. But I guess never say never in the wrestling business.
That is true.
But damn, that dude really had to put up that Instagram story a few weeks ago. Like, if he hadn't put that up, like I could see maybe them like being able to, work through all this. But the fact that he just put that up so recently, it's like, damn, that shit is still existing. That shit is still there.
Like I said, man, we're just. I mean, the second time when he came back, that was awesome though. But after what happened since then, and now this is like, look, I just have my hands tied across. Like, look, something else happens, man. Look, I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of be expecting it considering Punk's reputation over the years. Hell, I was even watching this video the other day online, like talking about like all the different people he's had issues with, all the different people he's had falling outs with, and I'm like, bro, like I don't doubt he had legit gripes and legit things to be upset about, like throughout his career. But he's the common denominator in all those scenarios.
Right.
But according to Dax Harwood, he like really misses wrestling because like Dax Harwood like is one of his best friends. He like really misses wrestling and he really wants to come back. And if he does want to come back as badly as he says he does, then I just hope he's willing to work past a lot of that bullshit and also own up to the part he played in it too.
Please, and also, Punk is older now, man. Look, how old is he? What, 30,
Mid
late 30s
forties,
or
mid
mid
forties,
40s? Like,
mid
come on,
forties
man.
ish.
Come on.
And like I said, bro, I'm not saying he's what he was saying was wrong necessarily about the elite dudes. I don't know them, but maybe he would had some valid points. But the way he goes about it in his approach, that shit is also not right.
Right.
But we'll see how this all plays out. And also, last week on Dynamite, we were greeted with the return of Jeff Hardy for the first time in 10 months.
Surprisingly. Wow. Was not expecting that.
And people are kind of mixed on it because of the whole DUI stuff, and kind of feel like some people kind of feel like he's getting a chance that he doesn't deserve, considering all the fuck ups he's had in the past. And my stance on it is this: it was nice to see him back. I sincerely hope he's doing better. I sincerely hope like that was a good moment for him, and that was like a, like a, I guess like a payoff for everything he's gone through in the last year. But more than anything else, I just sincerely hope he like sticks to the right path and stays out of trouble as much as he can. And that like that incident that we heard of last year is like the last incident like that we hear of concerning him.
Yeah. Hope so too, man. Because it's been a lot of numerous mistakes, man, and I just that's good. AEW's give him a second chance, though. But I mean, again, I just
You just hope like he doesn't blow that second chance. That's the main thing. That he doesn't blow it.
oh, don't, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because AEW, if they see him mess up again, they're gonna be like, no, you're done this time. Like we gave you a second chance, and you're doing the same thing again. Come
And
on.
his license is suspended for 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, it's
Oh
understandable
boy.
considering what he
Yeah.
did. I can't blame them for doing that.
Yeah, that happens. No matter who you are.
Yeah, but hopefully he stays on the right path, and hopefully he does not end up like Tammy Sitch is right now.
Right.
And I actually found out today her case is going to trial.
It is.
Yes, it is going to trial. And also, her and Chris Candido's relationship is going to be the subject of one of the episodes in the upcoming season of Dark Side of the Ring, which actually drops May 30th.
Yeah, and they're bringing it back.
Yeah, so Sonny and Tammy Sitch's relationship is going to be the topic of one episode. Also, Bam Bam Bigelow,
Oh.
Marty Jannetty, which should be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
And also the car accident of Magnum TA. Magnum TA was a big star in the NWA like in the mid 80s. And he was basically
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be what Sting became, but he got into a really bad car accident in 1986 that pretty much ended his career. And
Oh man.
unfortunately, that stardom that he was supposed to have didn't work out that way.
Damn.
Yeah, cruel twist of fate. Yeah, he actually had a legendary feud with Tully Blanchard in 1985, which actually culminated at that same Starrcade with the Dusty and Flair match. They had an I Quit match in a cage. And shit was fucking violent.
What? Oh, holy crap. I quit match in the cage? Jesus.
Yep. And you know what's even crazy? They had a personal issue where Tully Blanchard's ex-wife ended up marrying Magnum TA in real life.
What?
Yeah, shit was. Did you ever watch that episode? Did you ever watch that DVD, the top 25 greatest rivalries in wrestling history?
I think I did. I know what you're talking about. But yeah, that was one of them though.
Yeah, it was in the top 10 actually. Yeah, that rivalry was in the top 10.
Oh, holy crap. Holy crap.
Yeah, they interviewed Dusty Rhodes for it, and Dusty Rhodes' classic line from that was that the violence you saw in that feud is some shit you will not see in wrestling today.
Yikes.
Yes, indeed. I actually watched that Starcade. I think that match was better than the Dusty and Flair match.
Hmm.
But yeah, that Sunny episode should be interesting. Also, the Bam Bam Bigelow one should be a good watch too.
Didn't really know a whole lot about Batman Bigelow, but that would be interesting to hear about it and to watch.
I did hear a story that he saved these kids from a building that was set on fire once, and he actually suffered a bunch of burns to his body because of it.
Wow.
Of all people, with the freaking flames on his tights, he ended up saving kids from a burning building.
Yeah, and don't forget the flames tattoos on his head.
Shit. I'll never forget his cameo in Major Pain.
Oh yeah, me too. I was that was
You know what's funny? I actually saw that movie in the theaters the weekend of WrestleMania 11.
oh for real.
Yeah, because it came out around the time of WrestleMania 11. So,
Oh,
yeah, we saw it like that Friday before.
crazy.
Shit. He was also on Hogan's team at the 1987 Survivor Series. Had a great performance.
Mm.
Also, I heard Sasha Banks is going to be moving to Japan full time for the wrestling she's been doing over there the last few months. So she's really committed to that shit now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I saw her in some angle the other day where she like attacked this other girl.
Mm.
Yeah, she's doing big things. She's doing well over there.
Yeah, she's really liking it. Yeah, I'm happy for her, and that's good for her. So
That's what's up.
I have a friend that lives in Japan, by the
But
way.
before we get out of here, let's get
Yeah.
into the most recent comments by one Bret the Hitman Hart concerning today's modern wrestling product. It's all more about glitz, the introduction and going out to the ring and going on a ramp, lights and fireworks. All that's great and I love all that stuff too, and it's almost like a different world in the wrestling that my dad used to put on. It was very black and white in the sense it was just good guys and bad guys. I just think the old kind of wrestling is sorely missed by a lot of people. It's like, if the old wrestling was around, like my dad's wrestling, we'd come to see it kind of thing. I'm trying to advise my son Dallas and help him deliver the kind of wrestling show that I would enjoy watching more, where the wrestler actually knows what a headlock is rather than sort of doing this scripted ballet of leaping and twirling and dancing around like a bunch of ballet dancers. I don't really enjoy today's wrestling for those reasons. They've lost a lot of steps towards the reality or credibility of wrestling. Wrestling always, in my opinion, needs to pretend to be real. It needs to pretend really hard to be real, always has pretended really hard, almost to the point that you believe it is real. I think wrestling is far fetched today. When I think of WWE, for example, and I see 20 wrestlers crowd together outside on the floor of the ring, and some guy runs over and dives over the top rope and knocks them all down like bowling pins, I really roll my eyes at how pathetic wrestling is today. From top to bottom, all the top wrestlers and all the middle and bottom wrestlers in WWE and AEW, all slapping on their legs on every punch and every slap. It's to the point now where I can't watch wrestling today. Sadly, it's getting too phony. I really question the direction that the people that are in charge are in right now. Damn.
And hey, you know what? Just to be clear, he's not the only one who really been vocal about that. It's been a lot of the other veterans. Also, Undertaker also had a say in it too about it, but it was a little more
Also,
different than Brett's. As far as like as for the some people are against what Brett's saying, guys. I'm not trying to like bash you guys because you guys are younger. Like you guys got to really need to learn like the craft of the product a little bit more. I do not blame Bret Hart for what he's saying right now. I really don't, because wrestling has always produced great talent. They always will. But it's how the way they do it is one that kind of just it really just like I scratch my head sometimes. And Kurt, I've said this before, man. Wrestling is just how the way they do things is just so different from how it was like 15, 20, 30 years ago. I didn't see a whole lot of wrestlers using a super kick in their arsenal all the time. I hate that. People kicking out of their finisher moves, people doing backflips and just like, come on, dude. Like, where's the? I don't need to see all that, man. Just tell me a story. I remember, I think it was like a few months ago. It was NXT. I was watching it was a segment between Carmelo Hayes and I forgot who else it was, but they had like a segment with each other, and because they were building up for their pay per view, and then they were like doing a bunch of flips. It was like I was watching Circus Delay. Like I love Carmelo Hayes, but like what I was seeing in that segment, it was just like, what are they doing? If this was like 20, 30 years ago, they would have just like been punching each other. That would have been it. But all I saw was like they were like doing flips and backflips like in a segment, Kurt. Not a match. This was a segment. And it was like what are these guys doing?
but the one point that Brett made that like really stuck out to me was the point he talked about how like 15 different wrestlers will be standing at one spot, like waiting for one wrestler like to fall on top of all of them. Like if you ever see like those Money in the Bank matches where like they're all standing in one place, and then one wrestler like just jumps off the ladder and jumps on top of all of them while they're all just standing there waiting for him. Even in the tag match, like last week on Raw, I think somebody was trying to do a suplex to somebody from the top rope, and then the partner of the other person tried to do a power bomb to the person trying to do the suplex, and the person who tried to do the suplex still did it anyway. So it's like, were you trying to save your partner or what? Or what? Because your partner still got suplex regardless. It's like, what logic is there in that?
Right. Is this just like a lot of logical things like, okay, what are you guys doing? I think there's just I don't like the fact how people are always doing these backflips and spin moves. It's like, guys, I don't want to. If I want to see that, I could go to like a show out here in Vegas. You know what I mean? I appreciate people are athletic and the athleticism has changed, but guys, people, you want to be in the wrestling business if you weren't athletic to begin with. So it's like, guys, like be I told you this before a long time ago, Kurt. I miss when wrestlers would mat wrestle for a little bit and then build it up to an actual wrestling match. I have not seen a match where people done that.
Yeah, that's my biggest thing with wrestling today is that it is missing a lot of that storytelling aspect. Like for instance, like the Rey Mysterio and Dominic
Yeah,
Mysterio match at WrestleMania. It was a good match, but the main reason why it was so good was because it had a good story going into it. And that shit matters. Like you
right.
could do all those crazy high flying moves and those crazy high spots. It's all great to see and whatnot, but the story is your real meat and potatoes.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I look at matches like from 30 years ago. You know what I mean? And I just like, damn, this is like so different, but so much better than the stuff that I'm seeing now. It's like I feel like they rush things a little bit when it comes to the pace of their craft. They want to speed, do this. Take your time a little bit sometimes. You don't have to rush it. Take your time. Let it flow instead of rushing it.
And also another thing, like a lot of the moves don't mean as much anymore because
It doesn't. Everybody's using a super
and
kick.
also the DDT, also the DDT, also the frog splash. A lot of those moves don't feel anywhere near as special as they used to.
It doesn't because it's like when somebody did it, that one person did it. Like Eddie Guerrero did the frog splash. Now it's like, well, damn near everybody's doing it now, and it's like it doesn't feel it doesn't feel sacred. That's the word. That's the powerful word I want to use. That's the power word of the day, Kurt. Sacred. Certain moves are
Good word.
sacred and should not be used. Like the super kick. Like why is I feel like every wrestler that I see on the roster, they use the super kick. Even in a segment. If I just watch a wrestling segment alone, Kurt, oh, I'm gonna use a super kick. I'm like, dude, why don't you just use your fist or something, man? Or like,
I can imagine what a match between the Usos and the Young Bucks would look like with a freaking super kick party those teams go on every night.
oh Lord, man,
Shit.
damn. Like, if I was a wrestler, I would not use a super kick at all. I would not use it. I would not kick out of my opponent's finisher. I'll do it at WrestleMania. Save it for a WrestleMania, but not on like a regular show or a pay per view. That's something I will not do. That's like a cardinal sin. Why are you kicking out of your opponent's finisher? It's a finisher for a reason. I feel like okay. You know what? I think some of the wrestlers. I get that most the talent now they were fans before they came into the business. I mean that's how you're supposed to start. But at the same time, I feel like some of the talent they need to go back and look at some film tape from a long time ago.
Yeah, some of them should, but there's probably definitely a chunk of them that kind of feel like they maybe know everything and that they want to do things their own way and
No,
that the way
no,
the past generation did it is, in the past.
no,
I'm not saying it's
no.
right, but I'm saying
I'm
maybe I'm sure
sorry.
there's probably a chunk of them that do feel that way. Like that's what CM Punk was calling out Hangman Adam Page for. The way he did it, the way he went about calling him out wasn't cool, but I could see why he would feel that way.
No, man. Like if I was a professional wrestler, Kurt, like I would be very old school. I would there's certain things that I would and would not do. I feel like if I had a big match at WrestleMania, right? Especially if the storyline is deep, I would start that match by mat wrestling.
That works.
Mat wrestle, build it up, and then you're kind of like turning it out into a brawl. Build it up. Sometimes not just in wrestling, Kurt, but also in movies and entertainment. Sometimes the best storytelling takes their time with their storytelling, let it build, and it becomes a great story.
Yes, absolutely. So many great examples that I can think of.
Yeah.
Inside
Like,
Man being one of them. I was just watching. I was on my Netflix and they showed like a clip, like a picture of Inside Man. I'm like, shit, that movie was crazy. Like you
mm,
would have never seen coming the way that movie turned out.
mm,
And that's another thing with wrestling too is like the shock factor of certain match outcomes. That's the one thing I like about the Bloodline storyline is that a lot of the things that happen and a lot of the ways where it plays out is like, damn, they really told that story well. Or like, damn, like I would have never seen that shit coming the way it came. And fuck, this shit is some compelling television.
yeah.
I guess Vince said it best in whatchamacallit, the Beyond the Mad documentary, that we make movies, and that's what it should be.
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, I mean, he's always had that mindset for years. But at the same time, it's just how the way you do it. Anybody can make a movie, Kurt.
Yeah, they made the Super Mario Brothers movie 30 years ago, and we saw how that turned out.
Right. I mean,
Piece of
anybody can make
shit
a movie,
movie.
but 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 it's how but
Trash.
it's how
SummerSlam '03 trash.
oh he said 93.
That one too.
I want to say oh 03, but anyway, it's a different story. But anyway, anybody can make a movie, but it's like how was it produced? How was it, how was it? And with wrestling, yeah, you have the right talent. Like I said, wrestling's always going to have, they're always going to produce good talent. You go back to 2009, 2010, they had good talent. It wasn't the talent that bothered me, Kurt. It was the fact how the way it was produced, it was
Presented.
presented. Thank you. It was how the way it was presented. That's why I left.
Even the new generation era, they had great talent like in '94, '95, but the whole presentation, the whole vibe of it, it's like, bro, you're like asking people to turn this shit off.
And this is during a time like, guys, this is not the 80s anymore. You have these wrestlers with silly gimmicks and like, guys, like, we don't, come on. We're a little bit too old for this.
They're out of touch. They're out of touch. These gimmicks are old and just really lame. They're out of touch. Anyway, yeah, so
So,
people like to knock Brett, like, about like being bitter and always hating on the new generations and
oh
all
no,
that.
no, no. He's telling it like it is. He's not the only one.
Yeah, he has a point, man. Like a lot of the spots I see now, like as cool as they are to see and like as great as they look visually, like you always kind of like ask yourself, like that kind of didn't make any sense. Like the way they did that shit, it kind of didn't make any sense.
And then also, it's another thing. The last thing I'm going to say, there was another thing that he mentioned too. I feel like the business is more focused on their presentation more than the stuff in the ring. As he said, they're more focused on lights and fireworks. Bro, there's a lot of wrestlers who I've seen now where it feels like everybody on the roster has pyro.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, man. Like they're more about, like he said, it's like the glitz and the glam. It's more like, oh, present it. Let's A wrestler comes out and they're more focused on how the person's entrance is and all that stuff versus, okay, well, what he's gonna do in the ring.
I guess you could say that was like a thing about Ultimate Warrior, where like the best thing about Ultimate Warrior was like his look and his entrance and all that, and his theme music. But then when the match
Yeah,
started, you were like, eh.
kind of. Yeah, with
But
certain people, but
But
yeah,
in any event, Brett was also getting into the fact how he doesn't care for like John Moxley style of wrestling. How he like saw John Moxley like stab somebody with a fork and he just like couldn't even watch it anymore. Like he just turned it off.
I mean that's like some ECW stuff that you'll see though. But I don't know how Brett. I don't think Brett was ever. I don't ever heard Brett being vocal about ECW though. But still,
I did find what Ricochet said about like this kind of topic interesting, where he said that like wrestling is kind of anything you want it to be. It can be serious, it could be filled with drama, it could be comedy, it could be like action, power moves. Like it's anything you want it to be. And if you say like a certain something is not wrestling, like it could not be your preference. That's fine, but to just say it's not wrestling, it's ignorant. His thoughts.
I mean he has a point though. But it's always been like that, man. That is wrestling. It's always been like that for years though. But it's just again, it's just like it's just how the way it's presented. It's just like when I see like guys, it's like why is everybody using a super kick?
Or why is everybody doing the dive through the second rope?
You know what I mean? Like oh that's wrestling, but okay, but 20 years ago, 30 years ago, I didn't see everybody using the same moves, the super kick and all that stuff. It's like sports. Not every coach has the same playbook. Every team runs a different style of offense. Kurt, do you see other teams running a triangle offense like Phil Jackson?
Not that I can think of. That maybe they would have won more titles.
Probably, yeah. So again, I get it. Yeah, it's wrestling, but yeah, it's always been like that. It is supposed to be drama. It is supposed to be like this, like that. But guys, I don't want to see something where I see literally every, pretty much every wrestler using like the same move set. Like, oh, super kick. I'm like, and then like I get it. Like, I love Kevin Owens, but it's like, why is he using a stunner?
Yeah, that is a good point, but
Why,
like I
like,
said, the main point he made that like really stuck out to me was like the fact that like they'll like do like like a moonsault, or like like even for instance like in the elimination chamber when Montez Ford like fell on top of everybody. Everybody was like literally just standing there waiting for him to drop on top of them. I'm like, it's a cool spot, but like logically that shit doesn't make any sense.
it's logically you're gonna be like, okay, why is this guy up there? I'm gonna move. You know what I mean?
Like, why would I just stand there and wait for somebody to like? And from a logical standpoint, like, why would I just stand there and wait for somebody to like fall on top of me?
Oh,
But whatever, it's a different time we live in now.
it
Different
kind of,
time.
it kind of. I don't know about this generation sometimes. Not just in wrestling, man, but also in pop culture, man. It's just where has the world come to?
And also a lot of that cancel culture bullshit you could blame them for too.
Oh, where has the world come to, man? Oh, man.
I shudder to see to think what like the generation after us is gonna turn out to be, and also that generation that follows them. That shit is gonna definitely
Oh
be some shit
God,
to watch.
I miss the '90s.
So do I. I miss the '90s. Hell, even the 2000s, I still miss too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Oh,
I even put up a post a few years ago saying like, you're getting old when you refer to the 2000s as the good old days.
yeah.
Shit, shit. I remember being in the 2000s saying like, damn, I miss the '90s. Damn, the '90s were the best. Damn, I wish I could go back to the '90s. And
Yeah.
now I'm feeling that way about the 2000s a lot of the time.
Yeah, especially when I see wrestling now, I'm just like, fuck. We all took that whole era for granted. I mean, I didn't take it for granted though, but like
I
I felt
did.
like, damn, it went by too fast. It went by too
Yeah,
faster
the
than
the
expected.
ruthless aggression era I enjoyed, but looking back now, definitely I took it for granted, mainly because I was in a point in my life where I was like struggling with whether or not I should still be even watching.
Dude, I look at clips from that era and I'm just like, holy crap, dude. And
But it was
some
still
people,
fun though, regardless.
and for some people to say, like, I ran into people and they say that, oh, I don't watch it no more because ever since Austin and Rock left, I'm like, this is in 2003 when I heard stuff like this, Kurt, and I was saying to myself, like,
Well, to be fair, that was a point where like people were like really starting to fall out of interest with it.
yeah, I know, but
If you watch like the episode of JR's podcast about WrestleMania 19, like going into that WrestleMania it did not have the same buzz behind it the way the other WrestleManias before that did.
I know though, but it's like you got to look at the talent that they had though. You had Kurt Angle, you had Brock Lesnar, Jericho, Triple H, Booker T. It was so deep. I can't. I could. Oh my god.
Yo, I'm not arguing with you on that. Like their roster was great at that period, but I just even
Yeah.
knew as a fan watching at the time, like it just didn't have that same feeling that it did like going into WrestleMania 17, for example.
Hmm.
I mean, WrestleMania 19 was still great. Don't get me wrong. I love that WrestleMania, but I
Hmm.
just know realistically as a fan during that time, like, it just did not have that same buzz around it.
Well, you got. Well, I mean, maybe for me it was different. You got to remember, I was only what?
You were
I was
younger.
like
Yeah, I
11 at
get it.
the
You were
time.
younger.
Yeah, I was
But
only 11. You know what I mean?
yeah, but
So,
just
but
as an older fan, I definitely could tell, like, it wasn't the same. I still liked it. I still enjoyed it, but I definitely could tell, like, there was definitely a drop in interest.
that's okay.
All right, bro. Anything else you want to get into tonight?
That's about it. I'm going out of town. I'm going to the Lakers game this up next Monday.
Oh, good for you, bro.
Hmm.
So what's
But
up? Going to
yeah.
WrestleMania, going to NBA playoff games coming up in the world.
I'm gonna make
Well,
when I
happy.
go. Hey,
Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
I said when I walk into Staples Center, I'm gonna walk in there like John Cena did in at Judgment Day when he had the Lakers jersey on.
I thought you were gonna say at WrestleMania 21, but cool. That works too.
Oh, well, yeah, but I don't know if you remember the match. I mean, Cena was wearing a Lakers jersey that
I
night.
never watched. I never watched that Judgment Day. I heard that show sucked except for the
Don't,
movies in
please
it.
don't. Don't, don't, please, don't.
Bro. And
Just the
also as an
last
older
match.
fan, for as much as I saw like it wasn't the same for WrestleMania, it was really bad during that SmackDown period after WrestleMania 20. Fuck me. Fuck
Oh,
me, did it get bad during that time.
oh boy.
Yeah, but come through, have fun at the game. Oh, happy anniversary to you and your girlfriend, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Spice has been a year already, but yes, we
Good
both
shit.
made it through a year, so I'm blessed for that. Thank you.
That's what's up. All right, but for John Randall, this is Kirk Cadet for another edition of the Class of the Champions. Hope you guys enjoy all the wrestling we have to enjoy, as well as the NBA playoffs. And we'll see how that draft turns out in a few weeks, because shit's about to get shaken up, like Vince would say back in the day.
Right.
And hopefully he stays away from this.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, they put out a memo saying that he was gonna like not be in charge of creative and that it was all Triple H. And from what it seems like so far, Triple H has been more like his like hand into it as opposed to Vince's. But like Vince will give pointers. But let's just hope it stays that way. Hope it stays that way.
Yeah, same.
All right. So for
Absolutely.
John Randall, this is Kirk Cadet for another edition of Clash of the Champions, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.